Hey guys, it's Z here from Zilosophy on golf and Inclusivitee.golf, and just doing a quick check-in. Wasn't able to book a guest for the podcast this week, and wanted to do something and talk to you guys because I've been getting a lot of people reaching out and asking questions about the difficult times that we're all facing. So, just wanted to talk about some stuff that I'm thinking about, that I'm working on, in hopes that it might help you. Right, that's what this whole thing is about for me, is sharing my experiences and my stories and my thoughts, in hopes that it helps other people deal with what they're dealing with, because we're all, more than ever, dealing with some very difficult things right now. Just got off the Charles River, where I was paddleboarding, which really helps me clear my mind and stay grounded. So I hope that you guys have some practices that help you do that too. So I didn't take a shower. I didn't get all pretty for you, but many times life is not clean and pretty. So here we are. Also wanted to address this shirt, which many of you might think is associated with anti-racism and Black Lives Matter. It's not. And not that I don't stand firmly against racism. I do, of course. What empathetic person wouldn't? One of the craziest things about 2020 for me is that anti-racism has been politicized. And I mean that on both sides, right? There's extremists on either side that are politicizing something that's not political at all. It's just a human thing. Let's be cool to each other. Let's treat each other with respect. Let's realize that we are all human and we are all equal. I'll get into that and talk a little bit about Inclusivitee.golf, which is a new project that I'm working on with a team that we're working on. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I wanted to address this first. This is in memoriam of Elena Housley. It was given to me by my good friend from Pepperdine, Eric Housley, who's Elena's dad. She was killed in a mass murder in California, I believe at the end of 2018, if I'm not mistaken, so almost 2 years now. And Eric and his wife Hannah, who is also a classmate of mine at Pepperdine, very quickly realized that the most important thing in ending mass shootings, you can also relate this to ending racism or any other hatred in the world, is by spreading kindness. So I wear this wristband that says kindness matters, and elenasvoice.org. It reminds me that even when I don't feel like it, the answer to almost any question is to be more kind. If we want a world that's more kind, then we all have to be more kind. And that's not easy, because people can be difficult, myself included, and I'm sure you're included in that too. This is not an easy thing for any of us, but the way we get through it, the way we support each other, is by being more kind and respectful and loving to one another, even and especially when we don't feel like it. So shout out to the Housleys for their commitment to spread kindness. I hope that you will join that too. I actually have lots of these wristbands, so if you want to DM me, if you want one, if you want a couple so that you can spread some kindness to other people. One of the things Eric likes to do is to just buy a coffee for someone and leave a wristband. So he says that I'm going to pay for the person behind me. He leaves a wristband. He doesn't even have to say anything to them, and he just spreads kindness to that person so that they know that they're loved and they're respected, and that's what we all need. We're all human beings. We're all struggling with really difficult things. I had a high school classmate of mine reach out to me the other night to ask what my thoughts were with respect to her career and what's going on in the world and how things are changing so fast. As you can see behind me, the leaves are changing here in Boston, and that reminded me, as I was paddling on the Charles River a little while ago, the change is inevitable. It's the very nature of the universe itself. So we can try to resist it, we can try to ignore it, but it will always be there. And going against the very nature of the universe, in my experience, is not a really fun thing to do. It's quite exhausting and quite fruitless. So we must embrace change. This pandemic, whatever you think about it politically, and I have my own personal thoughts and feelings that I won't share, because what's really important is that it's causing us all to take stock and think about what's important and what's real and what's not. And so with careers, relationships, friendships, there's a lot that people are being challenged to face to decide what's important moving forward. One thing's for sure, guys, the world is forever going to be different. There is a great awakening going on. The pandemic has had a lot to do with that and forcing people to wake up. This happened to me many years ago, as those of you who have followed me know. It was the Boston Marathon bombing that did it for me. Even though I had gone through a very serious traumatic thing on September 11th, like many people did, it was really the Boston Marathon bombing that woke me up, and because it happened so close to home, literally. And I mean, they caught the guys that did it a quarter mile from where I'm sitting right now, which is the house I grew up in. But what it did for me was make me realize we can't keep treating each other like this. We have to build a world with love and respect above all else. As we're seeing in the world now, we're far from that, especially in our own country right now in the United States. We see great division and great hatred towards one another and great judgment towards one another, which is only a reflection of the judgment that we feel on ourselves, right? And also, if you go out into the world and you talk to people and you connect to people, you'll realize that the division and the hatred is not nearly as extreme and as in critical condition as we're being told on television and other media sources, social media as well, especially. I've been watching a lot less TV. I feel a lot better. Even sports, I've been addicted to sports and I love sports, watched it my whole life. I'm watching a lot less and I feel a lot better. I'm doing a lot more with my time, being productive. And many of you, again, who followed me know that I don't watch news. I haven't watched news for, it's coming up, I think, about 7 years now. Not to say I've never seen it in 7 years. I see it sometimes when other people watching it or I'm around, or something really serious happens and I want to tune in for an hour or so just to get some information that I obviously have to weed through. Because the thing about news, guys, is we think that we're staying informed by watching it. Maybe a little bit, but what we're doing for sure is programming our brains that those other people are the problem. We're programming our brains for hatred and division. And that's not the way forward. We've tried that. I just did a Zoom talk for a temple here in Acton, Massachusetts on Sunday. And we talked about this, and what I said was that if you take that position of those other people of the problem to the most extreme view, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with Holocaust and genocide. I think we've tried that and realized that that's not the answer for humanity. And you may think, well, how could you get there from here? Because that's where that path leads. So we need to back up and we need to stop at the beginning of the path and realize that hating other people, pointing our fingers at other people, calling them stupid, dumb, insensitive, whatever, is not the answer. Reaching out to those people, talking to them, understanding what they're going through is the answer. I often talk to people who, I'm pretty much a centrist these days because I don't like extremism. I don't think it helps anything. But I still talk to extreme liberals and extreme conservatives and other extremists as well. Well, how can you do that? Well, how can I not? They're human beings too. They're fighting and struggling through something very difficult right now too. And I'd like to understand what that's like for them so that I have a better understanding of humanity and specifically what they're going through. Now that all leads me to this new project that we have called Inclusivitee.golf. By the way, I mentioned Zoom Talks. You can book me for Zoom Talks. You can DM me. You can email me at info@Zilosophy.org and book a Zoom Talk. You can also book an Inclusivity and Diversity workshop under the Inclusivitee.golf umbrella. One of the big things that we're doing, and you can see the whole deck if you go to Inclusivitee.golf, you can see the overview of the whole project. There's merchandise, there's fundraising, there's sponsorship opportunities, there's all this stuff. But where it really starts, and where we're starting first, is with workshops for diversity, equity, and inclusivity, which is something that a lot of companies are doing now. Unfortunately, what I'm hearing and seeing from most of the people that have to take this training is that they're bored to tears, and they feel like this information is being shoved down their throats, and so they're not learning anything. So what we've done is taking golf as a platform to tell the story of inclusion. Why golf? Well, golf used to be one of the most exclusive activities on earth. And now it's becoming one of the most inclusive. And if it goes all the way, which we're trying to help, that's a great story to tell humanity, because if golf did it, if golf went from there to here, then anybody can do it. Any organization can do it. And golf is a really fun way to tell this story. So we can use this platform to tell the story in a fun way so that people actually learn it and engage with the training, right? So that this is the concept. And again, the first part of Inclusivitee.golf is creating these workshops where people are actually having fun and engaging in a process of learning about inclusivity and why it's important to all of us, learning about diversity and how it helps us. You know, scientists have proved that a more diverse group of scientists is more likely to come up with the best solution to a problem than a non-diverse group of scientists. Why? Because there's different perspectives. And with different perspectives, we get more options to get the best answer. So Inclusivitee.golf is something I really want you guys to check out. It's really important to me, and I hope it's really important to you. If you're at a company, please reach out to me and you want to see some fun, inclusive and engaging training for diversity, equity, and inclusion education, please reach out to me. Please reach out to us. There's information on the website on how to get in touch with us. And this is something that's really important to a lot of people right now, and we want to do it the right way. And one thing I want to say about inclusivity is, first and foremost, what it's not. Inclusivity is not exclusivity. I've heard from close friends who are white men at companies that have literally been told, you're a white man, we don't want to hear from you about inclusivity and equity and diversity. Well, that doesn't solve the problem. Someone else becoming the bully that excludes other people is not the solution. The solution is to include everyone. So how do we do that? Even if we feel people have had unfair advantages or privileges in the past, we can't now exclude them and try and build an inclusive world. That doesn't work. That's still exclusion. So this is some of the different ways that we look at inclusivity. Of course, that also does include what most people think is educating people on what inclusivity means and why diversity is important. So those people that have had privileges and have excluded in the past, they see the advantages of including people and building an equitable society and an equitable organization so that everybody does have an equal chance. And that, golf is another great example of meritocracy. The professional golfers have to go out there every week and earn it and prove it. So on their own merit, they get rewards. And there are a lot in society that are trying to remove this type of activity from society. And I don't think that that's right. Just handing people things without them earning it does not help those people. It does not build character and build drive to go out and do things that are really important to you. The example is right here. I'm sitting here now. I don't necessarily feel comfortable putting myself out here like this and sharing these types of things. But if don't have the drive to do it and I don't have the confidence to do it, I could just sit on the couch and watch TV instead. But that doesn't help anybody. And that doesn't help myself if I'm not helping other people. What I've learned is the more I help others, the more I help myself, the better I feel about myself, and the better my community, my family, my world is around me. So those are just some quick thoughts. I wanted to keep this under 15 minutes, and we're now at 14 minutes. So these are some of the things that I've been thinking about. I hope that they help you and some of the things that you're thinking about. Please reach out to me if you have other questions, other things that you want me to share. I think I'll be doing more of these 10 to 15 minute IGTV and Facebook videos that I'll also put on my podcast and on my YouTube channel so everybody else can see them too. But I think these quick hits are what's needed now. I was inspired by my dear new friend, the Radiant Warrior, who was on the podcast. Check that out, episode 43. She does this on her Instagram and talks about healing and the universe and the messages that she gets that help everybody. So I was inspired to do that for you guys too. Like I said, I do it for you guys for that weird selfish reason of helping others helps me too. what the Dalai Lama calls wise selfishness. I hope that we can all practice that. I hope that we can all find a way to realize that it's enough hatred towards each other. We can find a way forward where we love each other, where we respect each other. And by the way, all this stuff that I'm talking about, how does that relate to Zilosophy on golf? Well, we practice these things like patience, acceptance, and things like that. It helps us play better golf. More importantly, it helps us become better people and build a society that works for everybody. So I hope that this is helpful to you. I hope that you'll join me on this journey of spreading positivity and spreading unity and realizing that inclusion and inclusivity is the way forward for all humanity. So check out Inclusivitee.golf. Please read Zilosophy on Golf. It's now a top 20 Amazon book, so please share about it, comment about it on Amazon, and buy it for your friends and family. It might help them too. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there, and I'll check back with you soon.